Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and I'm going to talk today about a 26-year-old Black woman named Shania Wilson, CPA, MS, MBA, that I read about in Black Enterprise. And Shania's story is interesting because there's a lot to unpack on this. And so we're not going to talk too long, but I am going to break this down in a way that hopefully will get you to shift your perspective on what it means to become wealthy, what it means to be Black, what it means to be successful. So get comfortable, buckle up your seatbelt. We're going to get started on the Black Financial Channel right now. Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the Black Financial Channel. That's theblackfinancialchannel.com. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. I'm your friendly neighborhood finance professor. On the Black Financial Channel, we talk about Black economics every single day. We talk about powernomics and Black economics and Black wealth and closing the wealth gap every single day, sometimes several times a day. And we have a B1 philosophy. We put our community first. We make sure we solve our own problems first. We make sure that our community is at the top of our priority list. We believe that B1 means that we make ourselves the number one priority. B1 means that we believe Black people can be number one in 40 or 50 years if we do things right. And B1 also means that we must be one in order to be successful. So if you agree with the B1 philosophy, put a B1 in the chat, hashtag B1. Use that hashtag everywhere online when you're joining conversations. That way, you can participate in discussions with other people in the B1 community. People who are not B1 are people that probably need to spend another 20 or 30 years or a couple generations catching up with us because we are deciding what the future is going to look like. And we pick out B1 stories that are inspirational to really talk about. And today I found one in Black Enterprise that somebody sent to me. Shout out to Stacy, one of our team members who sent this story to me in Black Enterprise about a sister named Shania Wilson. Now, Shania is 26 years old. She's a certified public accountant. And the story about Shania is this. Let me read some of this to you. Hit the thumbs up button. Please hit the thumbs up, share, subscribe button if you haven't done it yet. Do that right now. We're growing our Black media. We need your help. So it says here, 26-year-old CPA Shania Wilson left her PhD program to focus on growing her business. In less than 3 years, she's already built a 7-figure accounting and tax planning business. She's also the founder of Tax Essentials Learning Program, TELP. Through this venture, Wilson educates aspiring tax professionals on the tax code and teaches them how to build their own tax practices. Quote, sometimes I randomly think, wow, I really left a whole PhD program halfway through just to focus on growing my business. She also says, please never let a job title, a degree, or a person be the factor that stands in between you and pursuing your dream. Those things will always be there, but your time and opportunities are not so secure. You never know what is waiting for you on the other side. Be a risk taker and do it with confidence. Okay, so I saw this and I thought this was really great. And obviously, reading her story, she basically had a full-time position as an assurance accountant. Her time was cut short due to her acceptance into a PhD program. The company forced her to resign, making her choose between her lifelong dream of a PhD and a career building at one of the largest accounting firms in the world. In 2018, she started a PhD program. She studied accounting and information systems, becoming more adept at accounting technology, coding, machine learning, and cryptocurrency. But after 2 years in the program, she realized her heart was somewhere else. Her business, Fola Financial, was growing rapidly and garnering national attention. Because of the PhD program requirements and limitations for entrepreneurs, Wilson had to make another difficult decision. And basically, she decided to bounce. She ended up leaving, and the story's in Black Enterprise. If you want to look it up, it's a really interesting story, and there's a whole conversation there. But I want to dig into the beginnings of it to help you kind of see what's happening here in this story. What you're really seeing here is you're seeing a butterfly pop out of a cocoon. You know, this young, beautiful butterfly, this Black woman who's got all this Black excellence, all this Black girl magic, all these things that make us special. It basically jumped out and said, I'm not going to allow somebody else to benefit from my Black girl magic. Earlier today, you saw where there was a brother that came on today by the name of John Boyd. John is the father of Victory Boyd and the Infinity Song. That's the name of his family group. There's 9 children, and they all sing together. They sing so well, and Victory is so talented as well that they sang for Jay-Z. He signed the whole family on the spot. They wrote Victory wrote 3 songs on Kanye West's last album. That's how much they've blown up. They started right here in the B1 community. They started right here with us, and you guys blew them up. You guys, by sharing their videos, by pushing out Victory's beautiful music, have made her into an international celebrity. Now, one of the things that John mentioned that I thought was really fascinating was he talked about 2 things that I thought was really important for us to understand as B1 type people. Is one, that you have a lot of talent in your community right there in your family that you may not be aware of. A lot of the reason why you can't see the talent sometimes is because you're waiting for somebody else to acknowledge the talent. You're looking for a job. You're looking for somebody to say, hey, you're good. You're smart. You're a smart boy. You're a smart boy. Why don't you come work for me, boy? Why don't you come work for me, you smart boy? You're a smart gal. Why don't you come work for me, you smart girl? You can come in here and I'll give you a good job and pay you good money. We're like, okay, boss, all right. Yes, boss. My boss said that I was smart. My boss said that I was special. My boss said that I was significant, right? And that's what you live off of, right? You know what I'm talking about. Give me a yes or no in the chat if you know what I'm talking about. You have a lot of families that will congratulate you because somebody gave you a job, but they will not congratulate you if you go start a business. You have families that will be more excited about being acknowledged by an admitted racist, white supremacist individual or organization before they will be excited about you being acknowledged by your own people. Tell me if you know what I'm talking about. We have what is called bad economic soil. Bad economic soil is like bad soil in the garden. Beautiful things can't grow out of bad soil. Healthy food doesn't grow out of bad soil. You can't grow anything in bad soil sometimes. So when you have your little entrepreneurs, your young Shanias who are brilliant and capable and ready to go to the top of the world, you squash them down, you crush their soul. You know, you give them a bunch of hell. You tell them, well, if you quit that job at the post office, you ain't gonna never be able to pay your rent. Like, what are you talking about? When my brother, God bless my brother. My brother is in his 30s, and he started a business with me. He started Great Black Speakers. It became one of the biggest Black-owned speakers bureaus in the country. And I remember when I told my brother to become an entrepreneur out of college. I love my family, but I had relatives calling me secretly saying, you got to talk him out of this. You got to talk him out of this. This is going to be bad. Right. And this is not really normal. This is not normal. There are some communities and some cultures where they never talk to their kids about getting a job. Did y'all know that there's some communities out there that literally don't even ever talk to their kids about, like, talking about getting a job is like talking about worshiping the devil. They literally do not raise their kids to go worship the devil. Whereas we raise our kids to worship the devil. And when I say the devil, I'm talking about Farrakhan's devil. You remember he used to say, they're doing white devils, right? Now, I'm not talking about all white people. I'm talking about the wrong white people. I'm talking about the bad white people. I'm talking about your boss. I'm talking about those people that mistreat you on the job every day. Those are devils to me. So when you are, pay attention now, when you are committing yourself and committing your life to serving people that you call devils, then you to some extent are worshiping the devil. They become your economic gods. What does God do? God is a person or a thing, an entity that decides whether to bless you or curse you. God is this entity that you get on your knees and pray to, hoping that you can get more blessings if you honor the God more, if you worship the God more, right? So in white America, in this country, when you talk about white supremacy, the most interesting thing about white supremacy is that you have these economic gods that run this system. These economic gods that decide if you're going to be successful or a failure, that decide if you're going to rise up or stay down. And you honor those gods. You see Black folks like that on TV. Many of the Black folks I know that get on TV that are famous that you really look up to are people who simply pray to the God. They went to LA and somebody said, hey boy, if you bend over and give me something, give me a little that tush that I can get you on TV. Well, they bent over and they took it. They wanted that. They wanted that opportunity. They bent over and served the God. So what I'm saying to you is that you got to stop raising your kids to worship the devil. You got to stop doing that. When you raise your kids to worship the devil, well, the devil plays devil games. The devil is a swindler. The devil will lie to you. The devil will sneak up and manipulate you and harm you and take more from you than you thought you were giving up. You think you were only giving up a few hours a day to go to that job, but really to some extent you were selling so many things that are much more valuable. You're selling your soul. A lot of people lose their soul. They lose all their courage and all their passion because every single day, all that's beaten out of them by some horrible job. You lose time with your children, right? You don't get to spend time with your kids. Your kids never see you because you're always at work. You lose thousands of hours of your life where you could have been spending time finding yourself, enjoying life, being with your family. You can't do that because you were with the devil, and the devil was, you think the devil was only taking a few hours a day, but really the devil was taking a whole lot more than that. So do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button, put a B1 in the chat if you get what I'm saying. Give me a B1 to let me know that we're on the same page. I'm not talking crazy. I don't want to talk over your head, but I'm not going to talk under your feet either. I'm not going to drop myself or drop these ideas to the lowest common denominator just to make people feel comfortable. No, I want you to leap up and I want you to catch up. I'm not going to always meet you where you are. Sometimes I need to tell you to meet me where I'm at, meet me where we are. Right. So give me a B1 in the chat if you get what I'm saying. So here's another thought that I had about this. I related to the story a lot. I was in a PhD program. I got my PhD at Ohio State University. And in fact, actually on my Instagram, I have a picture of when they put the robe on me. Now, and now here's the thing. In many so I mentioned something on my Instagram. My Instagram is The Real Boyce Watkins. I'm gonna show you this post I put up on my Instagram, and I'm actually gonna put my Instagram up here. I hope everybody will go follow me on Instagram because again, I need more intelligent Black people following me because I'm blocking people every day. I'm telling people to go away every day because if you ain't ready, if you come in with that ignorant Negro stuff, I can't do that. I don't have patience for ignorant people. I can only talk to you if you want to learn. If you don't want to learn, then that's okay. Just go listen to Cardi B or something. Maybe she'll give you something that's more acceptable. But here's what I want you to see. Look at this. This is something I wrote. And I want to lay this statement down. I want to try to interpret it properly so you understand what I'm trying to say. I'm going to read it because some of you may not be able to see it. So let me read it to you. It says this. If I had another child, I wouldn't tell him to go to college. I would tell him that he must learn how to read, write well, do math, learn Black history, master critical thinking skill, and learn to start a business. At that point, he would be on his way to being a millionaire. College would be optional. Now, let me explain that statement. Let me lay that out for you. And there's my Instagram. Follow me on Instagram. When I laid that statement out, there were people that misinterpreted what I was saying. They thought that I was saying that college is for suckers or college is bad. Now, I've been a college professor for many years. My PhD has provided me tremendous benefits. Right, I've made millions of dollars from my PhD. I'm very, very happy about that. No complaints about that whatsoever. But let me kind of give you the other side of that and why I made that statement. Sometimes your pathway to so-called success is based on what you know. I talked to a brother in the South Side of Chicago who said that, yeah, a lot of me and the young guys listen to you because we don't know how to make money. So because we don't know how to make money through stocks and real estate and all that, we will go and do crazy stuff to make money because that's all we know. Right. And so sometimes you pick a path that's based solely on what you know. But after you go through that path, usually 9 times out of 10, you're going to find that path was not the optimal path, especially when you're going down a path that nobody in your family has gone down, right? Nobody in my family had ever gone to graduate school that I know of. Nobody in my family had gotten a PhD. Nobody in my family understood what I was going through. It was very, very stressful. You can imagine studying 7 to 8 hours a day, 7 days a week, including Christmas, and still failing your exam sometimes. Like that's how stressful it was. It was extremely difficult. And it took me I think I've graduated, finally got done with school when I was 31 years old. It was very awkward to spend over 10 years in school to get the PhD. Now, why did I do that? Well, one side benefit was certainly that I gained a lot of thinking skill and all this other stuff. But the other reason I did it was because I wanted to get a good job making good money. I did not want to be broke. I didn't want to be poor. Entrepreneurship culture was not in our family. So I did make money. When I got my first job at Syracuse, I made $115,000 a year. That was a ton of money for me back then. Then eventually I became an entrepreneur. I made a whole lot more money than that. I don't want to get focused on the money because the money honestly isn't that important once you actually have enough. Money, it really mattered to me a lot when I didn't have enough. And then once I had enough, I didn't care about it anymore. It honestly is not that big of a deal to me. This is bigger than money. But here's my point. So when I come back to you as a 49-year-old, almost 50, and I say, college should be optional. I don't really think you have to go to college to be successful. I'm not saying college is bad. I'm not saying college isn't a lot of fun. I'm not saying college isn't a place where you can learn. I'm saying that there are a lot of ways that you can learn. There are a lot of ways that you can achieve that goal. There are a lot of ways you can skin that cat. And when people tell you that the only way to skin that cat is to go to school and go $100,000 in debt to the point where you can't even repay the debt and then end up going to work for a white man for the rest of your life, I don't think that's the optimal path. Right. So again, so everybody type the word optimal. If you get what I'm saying, optimal means, that you may have had a decent path. You may have achieved the goal, but the optimal path would have helped you achieve the goal much more efficiently. You follow me? Type the word optimal in the chat to let me know that you're hearing what I'm saying. I'm not saying that this path didn't work. I'm not saying that I'm not glad I had my PhD. I'm not saying I didn't get in where I fit in. I'm not saying I didn't work with what I had. I'm saying that when I look back, I say, damn, I did not have to spend a decade in school. I didn't have to do that. Because I'm telling you, those white folks can be treacherous. They can be just the worst. And it ain't just a racial thing, although race does play a part in it, right? But it was just terrible. It was really traumatic. Alicia and I, my wife is a PhD. She's a full professor of social work and very smart Black woman. She's a licensed therapist and all that other stuff. And we both kind of laugh about the battle scars we felt from going through our PhD program in terms of how stressful it was. And now we both literally are making more money outside of academia than we ever made as university professors. So if you were to ask her, like, is that the optimal path to do exactly what you were planning to do when you were 25, 30 years old? Excuse me, we would both say no, that's not optimal, right? So, if I were to do it over again, here's what I do. You know what I would do? I would I would join some program where there was some millionaire teaching people how to start businesses and run companies. And I would devote all my time to learning everything I need to know about how to start a business. And then I would devote the rest of that time to learning, to making sure I'm buying stocks consistently, and also devote the rest of the time after that to learning about real estate. And then I would learn where the money was at so that I could get out of this hellhole that I was feeling in my life. Most of the racism and white supremacy that exists in America is economically related. All this stuff about social justice and everything else, it's not that it's not real, but it becomes a distraction. You don't understand that in America, you live in a capitalist democracy. America is more capitalist than it is democratic. It's more capitalist than it is anything else, right? So money matters. So you can chase justice all day long, but if you're chasing justice without no money in your pocket, you're never going to get justice. You will never get justice because America is just us meaning people that have resources. So don't fall into the sucker trap. I want you to be smart. I want you to tell your kids the right way to be successful and to be powerful. And what this sister story does for me is it pushes me and it reminds me of what I think is the best model. I congratulate her. I don't even know this young lady. I never met her. I got kids. I got kids older than her, but I'm looking at her, I'm super proud of her. And I'm like, okay, this is the future. She's now a multimillionaire in her 20s because she took a different path. She didn't follow the white supremacist path. Okay, go to a big white university and then go work for a white man and hope for the best. No, she went and said, no, I'm going to display my black excellence. I'm going to take my black girl magic and I'm going to mine this black girl magic and I'm going to make this into something worth millions of dollars. So pay attention now. So and she's not the only one. You've got thousands of people out here that are doing this. Thousands of people that are doing this. So you take if each of those people is making $1 million a year, and there's 1,000 of them, well, that's $1 billion a year. But I think there's more than 1,000. I think that. So imagine if we had 1 million kids in our community who were trained to take the same blueprint. Well, that becomes $1 trillion a year. Right. So literally, you can transport $1 trillion a year or more into your community by simply training more entrepreneurs and more people to become investors and owners of real estate. They're not all going to end up as wealthy as Shania, but I know dozens and dozens and dozens of black people who started off broke, started off poor, started off eating bologna sandwiches with no bologna. Literally, I'm talking about so poor, didn't even have heat in the house, didn't have lights in the house, who are making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, or who have $700,000 in their 401k because they made consistent investments with their money. They didn't necessarily go off and become an entrepreneur like Shania did, but they were smart with their money. They did not follow the white supremacist path to success. The white supremacists will only give you a path to success that feeds white supremacy. So when they tell you go to school, get a degree, go work for somebody, go work for someone who's white, what they're basically doing is they're putting you in a position where you can survive and play survivalnomics, but they're not putting you in a position to play powernomics. Powernomics is played above the rim. Powernomics is played when you're coming in from the top. Powernomics is played when you have the true economic high ground, and the owner has the high ground. The producer has the high ground. The investor has the high ground. Anybody in military, shout out to all the veterans in the room. Shout yourselves out if you're a veteran. Every veteran in the room, I bet you could tell me right now that in a battle. Let me ask you all this question. Answer this for me. In a battle, do you want the high ground or do you want the low ground? Do you want to be shooting from below or shooting from above? Which would you rather have? Do you want the high ground or do you want the low ground? Somebody answer that question for me in the chat, because I can tell you that entrepreneurs and investors and producers are shooting from the top. They have the high ground. And typically those who have the high ground end up winning the battle. And don't you think for one second that economics in America is not a battle. It is a battle. And the reason that many of our people lose the battle is because they don't even know if there's a battle. Because they're being played as a pawn in somebody else's bigger battle. Right. So don't let yourself get played like a sucker. That's extremely important. Now, for those of you that want to dig deeper into learning about business and everything else, we have this great class in the Black Business School. And it's our Black Money 103. It's the third class in our Black Money sequence. And attorney Nicole Compton is coming in this week to literally go through all the steps required to start a business. She does regular lectures and breaks down everything on how to get your business started, how to fill out the right paperwork, all the little things you need to know to start a business. So don't think you have to do it by yourself. Feel free to go to blackmoney103.com. She meets with the students once a week, and you can answer a ton of questions. And she is a brilliant Black lawyer. I've worked with her for about 20 years now, and she also started her business with a $500 credit card, and now she's doing really great. So feel free to go to blackmoney103.com, or you can just talk to our people at the Black Business School about anything that you'd like to know, and they can help you. And I think Black Money 103. Let me check something real quick. Also on Black Money 103, if you go to blackmoney103.com, feel free to go take a look. The class is open right now, so feel free to sign up with your family. Okay, guys. So that's it. That's all I wanted to share. Later on, I actually want to talk a little bit about another interesting economic concept that was on my mind. I'm going to bring Alicia in on this. I saw I don't watch any of the videos about, like the Kevin Samuel stuff. Honestly, I don't have time to watch. I just don't really watch a lot of the content in the Negro sphere, if you call it, like in terms of just all the crazy stuff going on, people fighting back and forth and all that. Even videos that are about me, I don't watch them. I might watch like 30 seconds of it, but I don't even watch 30 seconds half the time. But I did hear somebody say that they felt that a man should never marry a woman who doesn't have kids. I heard that. Has anybody heard that? Tell me if that's accurate at all. It seems like there's a lot of guys who feel that women who have children are low quality, low value. I think that's the term people use, that you're a low value woman if you have children, or that having children is like a strike against you. Has anybody else noticed that? This is like a little side tangential point, but I want to try to ask you guys about that. Maybe I'm tripping, maybe I'm bugging, but let me know. Did anybody say that? Has anybody else heard that? Where kind of like single mothers, that have kids are just not the best picks, right? As far as dating. And that, now, mind you, like I'm probably a little biased because I married a woman who technically was a single mother, right? She does have children. I love her kids. Kids are fun for me. Kids are the best, right? But okay, there we go. Now little badass kids, that's another issue, right? Y'all don't mess with that. But I think, if the kids are well behaved and good people and they can add to your legacy and become great teammates, like my kids work with me in my business and everything, and I love it, right? Okay. All right. So here's where I want to address that for a second, because what's interesting to me, here's the thing that's very interesting to me, is that, when I hear these guys, and some of them are young, so I get it. Maybe you're young and you still, you haven't talked to an older man who can kind of break some stuff down for you. And some of them call themselves alpha males, and I guess that's kind of true. I don't know. I don't know what, I think you have to kind of know what that means. Like, what does it mean to really be an alpha male? You have to show that, right? You have to have some success. You have to have some power. And I don't call myself an alpha male, but I have a PhD. I've made probably more money than most of these guys have, and I can go around the world and get recognized on the street in almost any city I've ever gone to. So I've probably, I've done a couple things, right? So I'm qualified to kind of speak on this. So here's why I bring this point up. I bring it up to say that it's really kind of a little bit odd to me that men would say, don't date a woman with kids. Don't date a woman with kids. But it'll be a guy who actually has kids himself, right? Like, it doesn't make sense to me that you're saying don't date a woman with children, but you've got 5 kids with 3 babies mamas, and you think that doesn't matter, right? Like, you think that's like, and I because I remember asking the guys, I was like, well, wait a minute, if you've got 5 kids with 3 babies mamas, how can you say that a person with children is low value? Because you're saying that you're low value, right? That's what you're saying. And what they'll kind of do is this is kind of where, as men, we got to kind of check ourselves a little bit. They'll be like, well, that's different. That's different. I'm like, I don't know if it's different, because let me just think about it from a rational standpoint. If I'm a woman or a person, not even say a woman, a person, and I date somebody who's got 5 kids with 3 babies mamas, first thing I'm thinking about is, wait, I'm not just dating you and marrying you. I'm dealing with all your baggage, all these crazy women that are going to be in my space. And just so you know, you got to vet all of this now. Like, now it's like you're making an investment. It's one thing if you invest in one company, but if that company has a lot of baggage and a lot of ties and lots of lawsuits and lots of debt, you got to factor all that into the valuation of that company. So the same way you acquire a low value company because the company's got too much baggage, you can acquire a low value person because they're bringing a lot of chaos into your life, right? But then here's the other piece. This is important. Pay attention now. This is just an argument that I want to throw out there. If I'm a person, if I'm a woman and I'm looking at a dude who's judging me by the fact that I've got kids, they're all in my house, I'm taking care of them, whatever. And, and sure, you're right. I mean, the baby daddy issue is a problem, right? So I think it is very important to decide who you want to have kids with. That's going to be with you for life. But yet you coming in, you got 5 kids with 3 babies mamas. The kids are all in different houses. So you're not. I'm not really getting a whole man. I'm getting what Tiny T.I.'s wife used to call a piece of man. I'm not getting a whole man. You're getting a piece of man, because you can't, as one man, have enough energy to be a father to 3 or 4 different households. You can't. It's not possible. It's very difficult to do. And also, your resources are going to be drained, right? Like, seriously, so unless you are making the money of a LeBron James, or you're an entrepreneur that made $2.5 million last year, I'm going to be concerned about the fact that your paycheck that you get from the post office or wherever the hell you work is already going to be chopped up and divided amongst all these different people, right? So I think that personally, I think that conversation should be a little more nuanced and a little bit deeper for a couple of reasons. One, kids are not in themselves a liability. Badass kids are a liability. I ain't gonna lie. Terrible babies, mamas, and babies daddies can be a liability. So if you have that, like if you have a baby mama or baby daddy that brings a lot of drama into your life, just know that's going to harm you. Intelligent people are going to say, I don't want to deal with that person. Even my wife had not a baby daddy, an ex-husband. And if he had been a crazy jerk, I would have been like, I don't want to sit here and fight with this dude for the next 20 years. I'm not doing that. But he's a great guy and he's a great teammate, and we raised the children together. I can call him anytime. I text him pictures and I say, hey, let's, I love it. It's pretty cool, right? So it's like, actually, when you work together, you're actually able to raise the children more effectively than you can when you're all bickering and fighting and going back and forth, right? So all that has to be vetted. But I really think that guys who just blanketly say women with children are low value, that's just not even a sensical statement, because you're not factoring in all the other things that matter. You're not factoring in what kind of kids are you talking about? What kind of baby daddies are you talking about? How many baby daddies are there? And also remember, you need to look at yourself kind of through that similar lens. If you got a bunch of kids with a bunch of women, why would a woman who's had her stuff together? I mean, pay attention now. Black women and black men are a little bit crazy. We all a little bit crazy. We all got a little bit of that post-traumatic slave disorder. We all have issues, like we all do. I got baggage. I'm sure you got baggage. Anybody in here who says they have no baggage probably has the most baggage in the room. Like if you say you have no baggage, you probably have more baggage than everyone else. Just know that. But the thing about it is that when you're talking about, kind of dealing with all that, one thing that black women do very well is they make money. As a collective, black women are the most educated group of people in America. They make the most money, or they make more money than the men in many cases. So if you're a black woman who's got your stuff together and you got a good job, you're making good money, and let's say you do have a child or two, or maybe no kids or whatever, but then you got a guy who maybe made the same mistakes you did. Maybe he got a girl pregnant and had a baby in a situation that didn't quite work out, but his stuff is messy. It's all over the place, right? He's going back and forth to child. He can't even declare all his income on his taxes because he's dodging the child support police. So you're basically dating a fugitive. Like I've seen this. I've seen guys whose child support situation is so messed up that they can't even claim their income. They're like, well, can you put it in my sister's name? And just all this stuff that maybe when you're 25, it's okay. But when you're like 35 and 45, you're like, this is stupid. Like, we can't build nothing because you abandoned. Like you're running from like all these people that you owe money to, and you get your check. Okay, so your check each week is supposed to be $1,500, but after everybody takes their piece, then there's $700 left. Right. So you're married into a polygamous situation, even without without them actually being married to these other people. They are married to these other people. So I just really think that in general, this was on my mind, and I'm going to bring Alicia in. We're going to actually talk about this. We actually go do some stuff on the blacklovechannel.com where we actually talk about relationship stuff in a fun way, because she's a relationship therapist. You guys might know that. And I just really think that maybe some of this stuff needs to be laid out in a more logical way, because there's a URL on the screen if you want to go subscribe. Because some of this stuff that people say is just stupid. It's just dumb. And I would just say to anybody who's logical, and the people in the B1 community, the men tend to respect the women respect the men, but they don't deal with nonsense, right? So that means that a man can respect a woman, but every woman ain't a queen. You got to earn queen status. If you don't earn it, then you don't get it. Same thing. The women respect the men, but they're not interested in men who are coming with that nonsense, so it's okay to have some double standards periodically, because I think men and women are different. I think it's okay to have different standards for different genders. But when you get to this point where because you have kids, you're low value because you're a woman, but I'm not even evaluating myself in the fact that I got 5 kids with 3 babies mamas and so much child support that I can't even pay it back, which makes me that makes me a low value man. Especially when you measure things that men are measured on. Men are measured on their ability to provide consistent economic security. Economic stability is one of the most fundamental aspects of being a man, because if a man cannot provide stability and security, then what happens is women become very jittery and pissed off and uncomfortable in an insecure situation. They just do. I told you guys that story about the gangster goose that I met. You guys, if you've been following me, you know the story about the gangster goose. So me and Alicia were running. And there was this, and all the runners that were in front of us started coming back, and we were like, "Why are you coming back? Like we were supposed to run down this path." And they said, "Well, there's a goose in the middle of the road." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" Like, okay, a goose, big deal, it's a bird. So I got there, and there's this goose sitting in the middle of the road, and the goose is just sitting there. He's not moving an inch. He's looking at me, and I was like, "Why is this goose in the middle of the road? Like he's a bird. Like you think you can go shoo and he'll fly away." And so I walked up and tried to like make him move, and he just stood there. He just kept looking at me. He did not flinch. And he's staring right at me. He wasn't staring at Alicia. He was staring at me. It was a man. It was mano a mano. This was man to man. He wasn't looking at my woman. He was looking at me. And I'm like, okay, all right. So I'm like, okay, this is the goose. Like, this is a stupid bird. Like, who cares? Who gives a damn, right? So I walk up a little closer, and that's in his feathers like pop up, like he's getting a real defensive, like he's going into attack mode. And I'm like, damn, like, what the hell? What is going on here? So in my mind, I'm kind of playing in my brain, like, okay, is there some secret power geese have where they can kill you? Like they can, claw your eyes out or something, right? Because I'm thinking this is a bird. I'm not going to get punked by a bird. And then I moved a little closer. And then when I took that next step, the goose, his neck got real long to the point where he grew like 2 feet. He became the same height as me. Like, come on, mother. Like, we can do this, right? And I'm like, what is going on? Why is this goose like ready to throw it down with me? Like, and I walked to the left, he scoot to the left. I moved to the right, he scoot to the right. Like you're not coming past here. And I did not understand what the hell was happening, right? And so then what happened was I looked over to the side, and I saw a female goose, and she was sitting on her eggs and just looking at the water. Didn't even know her man was about to get into some old gangster shit. Had no idea what was going on. She's just sitting on some eggs, as peaceful as can be, just taking care of her babies, because her man was like, "Baby, I got this." Right. And I thought that is so cool. Like, and so I was like, all right, man. Okay, I get it. Okay, you're a strong black man. You protecting your woman. I respect you. All right, so come on, babe. Let's go. Let's let this man, have his baby, right, and protect his family. And here's the thing. Nobody taught that goose how to do that. Like, that goose didn't go to college. Nobody gave him a training program on how to be a man. He just knew it instinctually. And so so the crazy thing about the brainwashing you get in Black America, in my view, is that they neuter your men. They take what is natural inside of them and they extract it and they replace it with something else. They replace manhood with boyhood. They replace strength with weakness. They replace maleness with something that is very feminine. And next thing you know, you get these awkward, weird men who don't do the things that men are supposed to naturally do. They don't have as much sense as a goddamn goose. They don't even know. They can't even do what the goose did. The women's got their kids. They leaving the women out here just abandoning them. Well, screw them kids. That ain't my baby. I ain't taking on no responsibility. I ain't trying to do all of that. Right. And it's crazy to me. It's like, you don't even have the sense of a goose. Like, geese could probably have a better community than some of you guys could have, because you never learned anything about being a man. But then again, it's not always your fault, because you never had a man tell you these things. So maybe I'm that guy who is stepping forward to kind of say, you need to kind of think this through, and this is not a gender based debate, right? I mean, I think that we know that there should be standards for women as well. And I think that men have a right to challenge that for sure. But I think that this idea that a woman is low value because of the kids, or because there's a responsibility to be taken, or this sort of running away from any sort of accountability or any sort of need to provide and protect and all these other things that I think we're naturally wired to do, I don't understand that. Like, that's not what I was raised with. But again, I was fortunate enough to have a father. If I didn't have a father, I don't think I would understand these things, because who knows, maybe I'd be thinking like I'm like as a woman or something. I have no idea. So that's just my 2 cents on the issue. I know that was separate from the original discussion, but what the hell? We talk about whatever we want. And I hope this conversation helps you in terms of seeing things in whatever way works for you. And I want you to be happy, and I want you to be successful. And I think that there's rules to this game of life. I was with my 10-year-old just now. We went to the park. We went on a little bike ride, and we were talking about things like self-awareness. And I was asking her, if she knows what self-awareness means and how that works. And I was explaining, well, self-awareness is when you just figure out who you are, figure out what you like, figure out what your passions are, figure out the things you're afraid of, the things that you don't like, etc. And I think the same thing is true for all of us. Self-awareness, right? When you're talking about any form of relationship, business, personal, or anything, that self-awareness piece is critical. A lot of people don't do it. A lot of people don't have any idea of why they get triggered so easily, why all their relationships fall apart, why they're always fighting with everybody, and because they don't have self-awareness, right? And then people who don't have self-awareness are not typically interested in self-improvement. And I can tell you, people who don't have self-awareness to where they're completely unaware of the impact and the way they make other people feel, and also have no desire for self-improvement, those are absolutely the worst people in the world to be in a relationship with, because they're going to do all kinds of ridiculous, stupid stuff, and they won't even know why, and they're going to deny it every time. It's almost like when I would snore, I wasn't self-aware enough to know that I was a snorer. And so when people say, you snored really loud last night, I'll be like, what are you talking about? I don't snore. I don't make it. And they had to actually record me sleeping for me to know that, yeah, I snore like a bear, right? So the same thing is true. Some people snore like a bear. They make other people unhappy. They make other people uncomfortable. They destroy all their relationships. But because they've never done the work to become self-aware, they've also not done the work to self-improve. And that makes them horrible people. They enter every relationship completely damaged and completely screwed up. And then they spend their whole lives watching TV shows that tell them that it's somebody else's fault. So I want you guys to just kind of acknowledge that. I hope you'll get what I'm saying. We have different conversations on this platform. I want to see you do better. I want to see you engage in that self-awareness. And I also want you to make sure that when you pick people to share your love with, to share your precious time with, to share your precious money with, to share your precious energy with, that you pick people who are self-aware, who want to self-improve. If they are not self-aware and they do not want to self-improve, then you need to improve your life by getting the hell up out of that building as quick as possible. Period. That is a low value man. That is a low value woman. A person who doesn't want to get better is not going to work, because that's like connecting yourself to a tree that refuses to grow. Who the hell wants to be connected to a tree that refuses to grow, especially if you're trying to grow yourself? You're going to outgrow. You're going to feel awkward. You're going to be tethered to this piece of crap that's stuck down on the ground, and it's going to make your life miserable, because you're going to change over the next 10 years. There is no way on this earth that you're sitting here watching this channel right now because I know that the way I talk is a little bit different. I don't hear anybody else talking like this on the internet. Maybe there are other PhDs out here that are saying the same stuff. I have no idea, but I don't believe there's any way you could take it even 10% of what we talk about here and not grow by leaps and bounds. You're not going to be your average Negro. You're not going to be your typical Black person. You're not going to be your typical human being. You're going to be extraordinary in some meaningful way. And you need somebody that can roll with you. You're going 80 miles an hour down the road. You can't ride with somebody who's on a 10 speed. Like, it ain't going to work. You got what I'm saying? I hope that makes sense. I hope it's taken with love, and I hope I didn't offend anybody, but I probably did, because I always do, but that's okay. Screw them. I'm here to talk to you. All right. So hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. Dr. Alicia and I are going to go live on the blacklovechannel.com. So go over there and subscribe. It's a really great platform where we have open and fun conversations about she has all these relationship therapy tools that you never knew existed. And one thing I've learned from her is this. I've learned that that relationships should not be a do-it-yourselfer. That's it. It's like if you build a house, you're not going to do it yourself. You're going to call a carpenter. You're going to call a plumber. You're going to call, people that know how to build homes, right? Or whatever, right? So I think in a relationship, when you're talking about building something, building a structure, building an institution, I wouldn't try to do it yourself, because it's really hard to do. It's very complex, and people are confused, and it's very difficult. So there are so many tools out here in therapy that I believe everybody should know about and try, because that will help you to build in a way that's going to make your life better. So anyway, I got to go, guys. Have a good day. God bless you. Love you. I'll see you soon. Take care. Be good. Peace.